Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Mermaid Portal. I'm Carly. This is Owning Authenticity, and in this video, I've had a very powerful morning so far, and I'm only a few hours into it, so the day is still young, but it's been a very powerful activation that has led me to want to talk about the Mermaid Portal some more as far as this place between worlds. The last episode, if you will, was more about kind of getting into the Mermaid Portal and breaking through the atmosphere on what are you leaving behind and like what have you recognized is really just not for you, and moving out of that and coming into the Mermaid Portal, which says, I don't really know where to go next. I'm basically in the nothingness. And so kudos on anybody who might find themselves in the nothingness because they had the guts to walk away from something that they knew was not correct for them. No shade to anybody who is still in a situation that they know is not correct for them and are unfolding the timing of that process of making a move and getting into a transitory phase. All in divine timing. Everything is working out well for all of us. The slightly different angle of today's episode is much more focused on where are we headed and the nature of the Mermaid Portal, which is pure potential. The whole point of the Mermaid Portal is that we will detach from the old physical form, just like the caterpillar will go into the cocoon and will turn to goo. We will detach. We know that that's not for us. So we detached. We let go of the old form. We surrendered to the nothingness of I know that there is something better out there for me. And this conversation is really wanting to give some thoughtfulness around, right, so what is that? What is in the new world? What is trying to come to you through this place of pure potential? And pure potential, what does that mean? What do I mean by that? Well, basically, the Mermaid Portal is the place at the root of our soul where if you will descend far enough into yourself, you will find God. You will find infinite intelligence. You will find your own connection to the divine. And the divine, the eternal, expansive universe that is the reason for the being of all things, right? Like, where did it all come from at the very beginning? I love that question because it's really unknowable, and it's one of those places where you can kind of imagine it however you like it to be. And I imagine this non-physical, infinite intelligence that knew that it would be more fun if there was two of me and I could play. Like in non-physical, everything merges into one soup, right? So like in non-physical, there's only one. And in the Mermaid Portal, there's only one, right? Like you are absolutely someone because you are some of the one. I heard Cathy Heller say that the other day. I absolutely love that, where you are some of the one. And in the Mermaid Portal of pure potential, infinite potential, you are part of the all. You are truly an extension of source energy in physical form. And regardless of what kicked all this magicalness off in the first place, we are here now and we exist now, or at least we think we do. And from this place of nothingness, from this kind of surrendering to the darkness, I love that quote, like sometimes when you're plunged into darkness, you think you're lost, but really you've been planted. I probably butchered that, but you get the gist of like, you have to put the seed into darkness to get it to do its thing, right? Like you have to surround it with soil, nutrients to get it to do its thing and eventually grow up. So the Mermaid Portal is very much like that, the darkness and the nothingness. at first, as I discussed in the last episode, it's like that can be really disorienting and it can be scary because you wish you could know, like our 3D self, our ego self really wants to know the things. And part of that mermaid portal process is it's really not figured out yet. And that's actually really cool as well. And that takes us into, the darkness and the nothingness. Right. It's nothing. It's a space of pure potential. And so the question is, how much potential can you accept in your new world? And that is essentially the new world. That's what it's made of, is the amount of energy that you can receive, that you can open up and acknowledge, yes, that is for me, right? We've already done the hardest part, which is to say, this is not for me. This is no, right? Left that behind. We broke through the atmosphere. We're in the nothingness. I'd rather have nothing than be over here. We did that. That's the hardest part. The second hardest part is probably landing in the nothingness and the disorientation, the what am I doing here? Like life has no direction or meaning or purpose. Like what's happening, right? That can be overwhelming for a time. And then I will say that this is probably like the funnest part and still is scary in its own way, which is to say, right, like what is your new world? How much can you open up to receive? How much can you know that you deserve? Like how many of your blessings that have your name on them already have had for all of time? How many of them are you going to let yourself receive? How worthy are you? And that is what is waiting for you in the new world this time. And some of those things you may, bust into this new world only to grow there for a while and then leave it on this side of the mermaid portal and be like, I think there's more. Like we are not looking for our end all be all manifestation. I highly discourage that line of thinking because there is not an end all be all outside of yourself. There is only you and you. And I've seen some things in the comments that are coming to mind as far as like, getting really specific about the external manifestations that are over there in the new world. And there is a process for that. And at a certain point, like clarity will come in. But what I was seeing in the comments was more like trying to drag the old world over here as far as like the pattern of, I just want somebody that I can be with. I just want to be doing my life's work. I just want like that attitude of like, once I have that thing, like once that thing is here, then I'll be complete. And that is old world paradigm all the way. As far as if you're seeking anything outside of yourself as part of your new world, you're kind of missing the point of this space of pure potential, because you don't just want a relationship. You don't just want to be doing your soul's work. You want to feel love. You want to give love. You want to feel connected. You want to feel lit up inside. You want to feel passionate. You want to feel alive. And those things can manifest in an infinite number of ways, right? So like to say, I just want this relationship, like it's like, dude, of course, like we all want all the good things, but like, what do you really want? Like that's what needs to happen inside this place of pure potential, because the universe doesn't want to just give you a relationship. The universe wants to give you connection in all ways, in all areas of your life. So like defining not the relationship you want, but the attributes of like, why do you want that relationship? That is like one of the biggest chunks of work that we can be doing here in the Mermaid Portal, is getting really super clear on our why. Why do you want what you want? Why did you leave what you just left behind? What was missing there? What was lacking that you came to the conclusion that this is not enough? I want more. I'm ready for more. I deserve more. What is that more? And I would really, 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 really caution you as far as assigning that more to anything outside yourself, because, dude, like, it's all just a projection of you. So what is it that you want in your heart space? Like, what is it that you want to feel inside of yourself? And getting really clear on that. There is a lot here that I want to say around this space of pure potential and using it to its fullest potential, right? Like, the potential is limitless. Like, I was watching this, I mentioned Cathy Heller. I was watching one of her videos the other day. I'll see if I can find that one and link it, because it was really awesome. The exercise that she had us do, where it was like, if I was going to hand you a blank check from the universe, like the bank that is the infinite, okay? Like, it can cash any size check, and we're going to put your name on the pay to, and the universe has already signed it. It's a blank check. You get to fill in the amount and the number version of the amount where you spell it out or whatever. And she had us like draw that on a piece of paper, like draw out a check and put the little, like, this is the universe's bank account. This is the infinite bank of all. Like, this is pay to Carly Wharton. This is signed by the universe. Like, draw out the check and then fill in the amount. What would you write the check for? And she like gave us our time to like really think about that, as far as like, what amount do you put on the check? And she's like, take a second, really feel into, it's unlimited. You can ask for whatever you want. You can have whatever you want. You can write it for as big as you want. Pick whatever number you want. It's already signed. The infinite can cash it. Like, whatever you want. What do you write the check for? And then she's like, put it in the comments. I want to see, what are you writing your check for? And I would love that. I would really love, like, if you've followed along in the exercise, like, what did you write your check for? Put it in the comments and really claim that, as far as like, right, that money has your name on it. Okay. So like, I don't care what you wrote your check for. That money has your name on it. Period. The Mermaid portal is a place of infinite potential. And I want to pause right here and tell a story. I really hope I loop back around. We'll set an intention. We'll see what happens. But I want to tell a story about manifesting my first business. And that, long story short, that business came to be with me getting like built into the structure of ownership of this business as 45% owner. I held 450 of the 1,000 shares. And to start that business and to get it off the ground the first couple of years, which were kind of rough, this business cost roughly $1.6 million. And I personally contributed $0. Okay. So like, the offer came to me, the people who had the money were like swirling about and they just needed to be connected into the plan. Like, what can you claim? Because the money is out there. It's really just about being in the right place at the right time. It's about being connected, about believing that, these other people should throw $1.5 million at you to bring your vision to life. Can you take their money and turn it into something? Do you believe in yourself to that degree? That is your new world. At that time, this was like 6-7 years ago, like at that time, $1.6 million, like that was really pushing my own self-worth, as far as like Do I trust myself to take on, take their trust, basically, like them investing their money into this project that I'm going to sit here and build this and run this thing and like get it off the ground, bring it to life. It doesn't exist yet. We're going to do all the things. We're going to make it happen. And they're going to pay for it. You don't have to have money to do big things, to do big, expensive things. Like the money can just fall right out of the sky. So let's come back to like, what did you write your check for? And she's reading out the amounts in the Zoom that she was recording, like the people who had put their amount in the chat. And she's like, $5 million, $20 million, $400,000. And that one really got me. And I don't want to throw shade at anybody for any amount that you would write on that check. But like she talked about like, yeah, like why did you pick that amount? Why would you pick $400,000 instead of $800,000? Why would you pick $5 million instead of $9 million? It's an infinite check. Why did you pick what you picked? And there's a reason, because it really does like take expanding your ability to receive, like picking these numbers. It may feel completely arbitrary because it's just written on your journal page. It's not a real check. It's not a real check, Carly. Okay, but I'm telling you, the universe can bring you a gigantic pile of money to back you up on exactly what you are ready to do. If you're ready for it, if you are ready for it, everything that you need is right there if you will allow yourself to receive it. And so what is the new world? We don't know yet. And that's why it's really part of the process where you have to leave behind the old, because from the old world, you can't see into the new world. You truly have to let yourself rest. I had this awareness the other day that felt really good. I've done some yoga in my life. I would not call myself a yogi by any means, but I love it when I do practice it. Anywho, at the end of a yoga class, one of the last things that they have you do is to lay back in Shavasana, in corpse pose, where you just like let the floor hold you. You lay all the way back. You bring your arms a little bit away from your body. You spread your legs a little bit. You let your feet like flop over. You just go totally limp and let the ground hold you. After 55 minutes or whatever it was of really engaging your body and moving your body and holding the poses and feeling your muscles and coming down into your body, it's like, I love how they say, like in Shavasana, it's like you let the nutrients soak into you of everything that you just did. Okay, like the whole 55 minutes, you did all the things. This is like in the old world, you did all the things. And then in the Mermaid portal, the first thing that we have to do is go into our rest cycle where we lay back in Shavasana and we let the nutrients soak into our being. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And then do you know what you do after that? You kind of move on with your life a little bit. You kind of just like, stop by the grocery store and get something for dinner. You check out a library book and read it. You take your family to the pumpkin patch. Like you kind of just do your life for a while and you kind of forget about where even am I? I'm just enjoying my life. Okay. After that Shavasana, there's like a getting on with your life that isn't trying to plan like where you're headed next. There's just like, this is your life. Do you like how you're living it? Right now where you are totally free, you're totally free to be doing anything that you want to be doing. Are you liking how you're doing this? Like, are you liking the rhythm and the season and the style of life that you are practicing? Do you like it? Are there any modifications that you would like to make to how you are engaging in your life? Be super compassionate and gentle with yourself. There's no one right way of how to live your best life. And I mean, even if you found something that really worked for you, that doesn't mean that it's going to last forever. Some things come in for a season, so just because you used to do yoga, Carly, doesn't mean you got to beat up on yourself just because you don't regularly practice it now, right? So like, do you like your life? Are there any modifications that you would like to make to the way that you personally are situated inside your day-to-day life? And as you kind of forget about where it is that you're trying to go, that's where the place of pure potential can really do its job. Because other than expanding what you're ready to receive, the future is really, I know they say like, the best way to predict the future is to create the future. But like, I find that to be somewhat counterproductive as far as how most people practice it, where again, we get so specific on like, I just want this relationship with a partner where I can do this, this, and this with them. And it's like, what about you? What about how you personally want to feel inside your life? Because every single thing that comes into your life from the outside of you is not really you, and therefore it is not permanent. It will come and it will go. So resting our potential on some external manifestation is really not what I would advise. Instead, I would say it's much more a matter of like, again, getting clear on how it is that we want it to feel. What do we want? What is it that we truly want to live? And I mean, I'll take the life's work example. Is like, I do want to be doing my life's work, and I feel very strongly that I have a very powerful mission. And I don't think that's the point of my life. Like, the point of my life is the quality of this breath, this one right here, right now moment. Am I providing a quality life for myself? Am I standing up for myself when life would want to restrict me? Am I using my power to rewrite that place so that I fit there? Or leave it behind and find somewhere where I do fit? Do I advocate for myself? Do I provide myself with what I believe to be a good quality of life? And I want, like, basically, instead of wanting to do my life's work, truly what I want is to live a rich life. I want to live a full experience. I want to have a wide variety of experiences. I want to relate to a wide variety of people. I want to see myself through a wide variety of reflections. I want to find my limits and go beyond them. I want to really feel my freedom. I want to be really well versed in my freedom. I want to recognize instantly when I am beginning to feel confined and constricted. I want to recognize and open up whatever it is that's blocking me within myself, right? Like, anything outside of ourselves is only us projecting us out there so that it's easier to see. And that is an extremely valuable thing. But what it means is that as far as like using the pure potential of the mermaid portal, we can't create outside of ourselves. We can only truly create inside our relationship with us. And this comes to us in many, many ways. And as far as like the mermaid portal itself, this place of pure potential, I would imagine that there are just as many unique experiences of it as there are individual people who will go there, right? Like, we all have our own perspective. That's what makes this place so amazing, is the diversity. So, I mean, as always, this is just my experience of it, and I would love to hear down below how your experience either resonates and looks similar or is different. Either way, I would love to hear about that. But for me, in this place of pure potential, I will see snippets of things. And I have personally, at least my current understanding of how these little snippets, these little visions work, is each and every single one of them is showing me not what I'm going to do, but how I'm going to feel. So trusting the visions based on their feeling quality, not on exactly what I can see is what's going to happen. Okay, because that is a slippery slope where I'm talking about, earlier what we were talking about is like, the new world, your next iteration of the new world, it's not really built yet because you haven't expanded as fully as you're going to expand into that place of like, right, what can you receive? And so these visions, like, for example, I have this vision where there is gigantic tidal wave size abundance, like financial abundance, like cash money coming at me right now. This is the vision that I keep seeing over and over and over and over and over. And I actively and regularly cut the cord with money as far as like what I am getting in these visions is how I will feel in the new world that I am moving into. And that is exhilarated and free, and like literally the world is at my fingertips and I can do or be or have anything that I want, that I can use every ounce of my advantage, my abundance, my privilege, my wealth that I have manifested to influence whatever I want in this 3D physical plane. If I want to build helping centers that promote healing and wholeness and love and acceptance, like if I want to donate to places that are already doing that, if I want to, promote research into the things that I think are important, if I want to spend my time and energy experimenting in ways that revolutionize the human experience, that completely blow the lid off of what is possible in the 3D, that completely redefine what a pleasurable life even looks like. Okay? Like that is what I want to do. And I'm starting from the inside out. That is a place where I do want to share a song that I listened to this morning. And this came out of, I'm starting at the end of this story and I'm going to work my way back, but this came out of a meditative experience that I'll tell you about here in a second. But the song is Stand By You by Rachel Platten. I'll grab a YouTube link and stick it in the description box if you want to check it out. I would highly recommend. I listened to this song like 4 times before recording this video and cried big, giant alligator, crocodile, happy tears through pretty much multiple repeats of listening to this song, because I found this song and I knew about it. I had listened to it on repeat during a past relationship, and I had like basically sang this song like from my heart, like sang my little heart out at this person. Like, I will stand by, like I was making this oath and this commitment to like stand by this person. And the lyrics started playing in my head. I could like hear the music of the song playing in my head after this meditative experience. And so I was like, that's weird. I haven't listened to that song in years, literal years. And it just starts playing. So I'm like, oh, let me go listen to this song. As I listened to it, I listened to it as far as like who is speaking is my inner parent. Who is speaking is like my inner adult. And who my inner adult is speaking to is my inner child, is little girl Carly, who, boy, is she shy. She shuts down when she's overwhelmed. She gets like cat got her tongue big time. Yeah, like just lots and lots and lots of social anxiety, battling against a ferocious desire and hunger to be seen by the world and loved and known and copied. That was something that came up in the meditation, was like, you know what I want? I want to be so well known and so successful. Successful is my own definition that I am personally using to help me to feel like this, my own definition of success. so successful that other people are mimicking and copying, and like that I don't even have to necessarily like write the book on owning authenticity, because other people will be writing down like a book, a rule book, a playbook on how do you own your authenticity. And they're doing that by studying what I'm doing. Like, that's really what I want. And so this meditative experience was very interesting, because also in that Cathy Heller video that I linked in the description, where she had us write the check to ourselves and like, what number did you put? She went on to talk about how, you know, there's a lot of things that we would talk about publicly as far as what we want for our lives and what we're looking for and whatever. And she's like, if you want to just make a boatload of money, if you want to, like be really, really rich and famous and successful, like that is maybe something that we pursue inside our own hearts, but it's not necessarily something that we would like say out loud, like super openly, publicly, confidently, like owning that. And she's like, why is that? Like, why would some things be okay to talk about and some things not okay to talk about? And so that was definitely a piece that really stuck out to me the other day, that, you know, it comes back to this place of pure potential, and how much can you open up? How wide can you open up? And truly, what are you able to receive? And the belief that we have in ourselves, and the connections that we have around what is it that we want, and what does it mean to get what we want? And I'll give you an example, is like what I have associated with fame and popularity, let's say, is a certain amount of like force and control being placed on me. That like to be famous would be millions of people's expectations, potentially billions of people's expectations being directed at me. And I feel like, you know, that people would get together and decide like, this is what Carly needs to do because this is what's popular with everybody. And like, this is why they're watching, is like, because you do this, so you better keep doing this. And like, there is a very real part of me that's like, if that's what fame is, you can keep it. Like, I would rather not be famous than have that kind of like, the people who quote unquote love you are harassing you to try to tell you how to be. Like, no, I don't want that. And so that is very much on this side of the mermaid portal, as far as like, I am not interested in that kind of fame. However, I am interested in fame. And that is something that I don't think I've ever said out loud, let alone publicly, as far as like claiming that, and how wide can I open up and what can I receive. I am ready to receive a lot of attention being on this, a lot of attention being on this healing space that is here for anyone who is in that transition phase of their journey, who is trying to live more from a place of their authentic self. What does that even mean? Right? Like, I love it. I want to do it, but how do you actually do that? Like, I find an endless source of inspiration in this space, as far as like, I truly love being here. And I see the value in what it is that I'm creating. And yet, going back to the meditative space and like, what does it mean to get what you want? So like, let's say that everybody knew what I'm doing over here, because right now, you know, there's a few thousand subscribers on the channel, and I don't have this space connected with a straight line to like my personal life. Like, the people who know me in the town where I live, like, I don't go around telling people that I have a YouTube channel. I just don't. Like, I just do what I'm doing over here. The people who find it, they can hear me. They generally resonate. And the people in the town where I live, like, they're just doing their thing and I'm doing my thing. And like, we happen to share the same zip code. Like, that's really all it is. But there is absolutely a fear, there's a point of pain where I don't want, this took a long time to be able to articulate, and really was just this morning. I don't want to embarrass my family. I don't want them to feel embarrassed or ashamed of me and what I'm doing. And again, talk about something that I have never claimed, as far as like, maybe I knew that to be true somewhere inside me, but consciously and saying it on a video, no, that's not happened before. So having this awareness of, I don't want to embarrass my family, it was very interesting, because the one that came was my grandma, who I have one living grandparent at this point, and it's her, my grandma, and she came, and I saw that, like, I do not want to bring this woman pain. I physically cannot tolerate the idea of hurting her. And I've even had some like scary visions of like my fear kind of taunting me and like getting me to commit to like, how much do you really want this? Like I've had to overcome fears that like what I'm doing, my authenticity, would be so upsetting to her that she would like have a heart attack on the spot. Like this is the level of fear that I hold on myself, as far as like my fear of causing pain to her specifically, but really like all of my family, but really to her. Really, like, as I sat in this meditation and was like, I don't want to embarrass my family, it was truly her spirit that it all kind of congealed down to her presence in my life. And like we talked about last time, like anytime there's an uncomfortable dynamic with someone in your world, that's a good candidate to practice some cord cutting and see like what cords are there between you. And this meditative experience goes deep real quick. So hang on for a second, because promise we're going to circle all back around. So as I was trying to find the cord between us, this happens sometimes where to find the cord, it's like you have to revert in age. You have to like I became a 5-year-old and she also lost 30 years, and we're sitting at her kitchen table and I kicked her under the table. I did not mean to. I'm just flailing around like a little ADHD kid without that diagnosis and like flailing around, and I kick her in her bad knee, and she went instantly pale, and she just sat there and rocked back and forth. She didn't say anything. She's just like a ghost, and she starts sweating, and like clearly she's just like overtaken by physical pain. She never said anything to me as far as like, oh my God, Carly, how dare you, like, bleh. Like did not say anything, but just witnessing that like by accident, I brought this woman, like if she had been standing, like it would have brought her to her knees. Like just, it was traumatizing to see that like I didn't mean to hurt her, and I did. And being highly sensitive, highly intuitive, and empathic, I'm also a synesthete, where like witnessing someone's physical pain, I feel it in my body. That's actually my first memory of my synesthesia, where like when I see someone in physical pain erupts out of both sides of my knees and travels down my legs and up my legs. And when it's really bad, it comes out of my elbows too. Every synesthete's experience is different, but the one that this most closely falls under is mirror touch synesthesia, where like when I see somebody experiencing some kind of sensation in their body, I can feel it in my body. And it goes for pleasure as well, which is a whole nother conversation. But anyways, this was my first memory of my synesthesia, as far as like my legs just ached and I just started crying because like, ow, she's the one in pain and I'm over here crying it out. And that experience was transformational. I mean, I feel like that was one of the moments where I really boxed myself in, because if you're not careful, you can really hurt somebody, is what I learned that day. And if you're not totally aware of what you're doing and how you're doing it and where the other people are in relation to you, you can hurt somebody that you really care about, and there's nothing you can do to take it back. Like, this little 5-year-old's brain understood that. And so to find this cord with my grandma of like, where is this coming from that I don't want to bring her pain? I go back to being 5 years old, sitting at her kitchen table, going through this experience, and there were cords between her knee and my knees. And when I cut those cords, I experienced a level, like I described last time, of like your power rushing back into you. Like, and I've cut a lot of cords lately, and I've experienced that coming back of my power over and over and over again. And it all feels about the same. There's a range as far as like how much power can you bring back into yourself each time. This took the range to like an outlier kind of place, as far as like, I've never felt anything like that. It was like my entire body, and it wasn't coming from up, it was coming from this way. And it was like being in a wind tunnel, being in like a bullet train, as far as like just so much. And it just went like, it was so freaking crazy. And I realized in the coming back of it that like, it wasn't just a cord with my grandma that I found there, that I cut. That like, what that experience was cutting the cord with my belief that I am responsible for the experience of another person. It goes way beyond my grandma. It goes way beyond accidentally kicking someone in the leg. It is about truly taking responsibility, that like through my actions, it is my responsibility to protect and care for the experience of everyone around me. Like being, I don't know if this is like an oldest sibling thing, or if I got other things going on that like really contribute to this, but like hyperactive over responsibility being one of my core shadows that I have to work with, that I get to relax out of, honestly. Where, yes, truly, like, I think that my actions must be guided in an intentional way, such that it doesn't hurt or harm anybody in the process of what I'm doing. And again, that's where I go back to what I was describing in the last video, which was the 3D is inherently insecure. Like, is it even possible to go through life unharmed? I don't think so. I think harm is coming. That's why we came here. The contrast is why we came here. And that while I am so concerned about not hurting other people, I am boxing myself in such that, okay, this is like a totally disturbing example, but have you ever heard of, I think it was in China, where they used to and maybe still do bind little girls' feet, where like they cram them into these things that don't let them grow, so that they keep just little feet, and then they get all deformed and like not great looking, but they're little. Great job. Like, you know, it's kind of like that. Like, I put that on myself, as far as like I am binding myself in a very uncomfortable way to hold myself back for this external factor that, like I said in the beginning, like nothing out there is real. Everything in the 3D is part of the illusion, and it is because of them, the them out there, the illusion, that I am binding myself and holding myself and constricting myself and not letting myself really go all in on who I really am. all because I'm worried that my grandma will be hurt by it. Like, this is, I lay this out here because I gotta think this is relatable. As far as like our ancestral healing, our family lineage, our cultural structure, as far as like, you know, it feels like respecting our elders is kind of baked in here. As far as we get taught like, you have concern for them. That's what's right. That's what's appropriate, is that you personally make sure that you are honoring them. You live your life in a way that they can be proud of. Does that sound right to you? Because it doesn't sound right to me. It doesn't sound right to me from where I sit right here, right now. You know, like, I believe every individual should live in a way that honors themselves, that honors their connection to God, that honors their own extension of source energy, their own expression of the divine. You know, nobody outside of you can tell you how to do that. Nobody outside of you can be the barometer, the pain or pleasure barometer, as far as like, are you doing it right? The only person that can know that is you. You know if you're doing it right by how it feels for you. And for me, getting in this space and channeling messages that help people come home to their own God self, I've never found anything that is as endlessly inspirational, as life-giving. Like, when I spend an hour going to work in this space, I come out energized. You know, like, this is absolutely so much more play than work, right? Like, leaving behind that old work paradigm. And what is the new work paradigm? It's that we engage in a way that's fun for us. We engage in our natural flow. We engage with our natural passion and curiosity and interest and skill set and talents. Like, we get to bring what comes naturally to us to the table. And in return, the universe provides. That's the new life paradigm. That's what's happening over here, as far as what I can tell. And like, this whole concept of like a boatload of money is coming to me, what I take from that is not that a boatload of money is coming to me. I take that I will feel free. I will feel like I have a universal, limitless checkbook at my disposal, because every time I want something, everything that's needed to bring it to fruition is right there. You know, like, I want it, I'm ready to have it, boom, there it is. There's the money to have it, there's the connection to have it, there's the, this was in a different, Cathy Heller is coming up a lot. Apparently, like, you know, if you're being called to like go look at her stuff, she is like, yeah, she's a very interesting person. Highly, highly recommend, if you're being called there, to go check out her space. But she was talking about how she went to this like Apple podcast convention or something, where it was like all the people who have a podcast on Apple. It was like a meeting for all of them. And this is the first time she's going, and she's just starting her podcast, and she just kind of wanted to network and, you know, meet some people who were in that space and whatever. And she meets this person and she's talking to them. And this person was like, are you excited to meet somebody? And I'm probably going to butcher this story a little bit, because the punchline is really the part I remember. But basically, the person she met in the lobby of this conference was like, oh yeah, we're all here like walking this lobby trying to get a glimpse of so-and-so. And she's like, why? She's like, well, so-and-so, the president of Apple. Okay, say more. Why are you trying to get a glimpse of him? It's like, well, because if you meet him and then you know him, and maybe he can feature you, or like, you know, it can really help boost your podcast on Apple. And she's like in her mind, she's like, that sounds exhausting. And so she looks around and she's like, yeah, all of these people are here trying to make this thing happen, so that they have to meet this guy, because that's the way that their podcast is going to be successful. That's the equivalent of what I was saying earlier of like, you just need this relationship, you need this external thing. Like, that is very much over here on this the side of the mermaid portal that hopefully we're leaving behind. Where she was like, that just sounds exhausting. That sounds so stressful. That sounds like so limited as far as like what if you don't meet that guy? Then what? You know, like that can't be the only way. And so she's like, you know what? I think I just need to get out of here for a second and just like go chill in a space where we're not all like tensed up and like fighting over this one little scrap of like meeting this one person who can make it all happen. She's like, I need some space. And so she goes across the street to this, or down the street to this other hotel. She orders herself an iced tea. She's sitting there. There's this guy reading the newspaper. You probably already know where this is going. That's the president of Apple Podcasts. They have a very lovely conversation. She had no clue who he was. They just talked. And at the end, he's like, hands her his business card. And he's like, yeah, I think, you know, we could probably do something. And they've featured her many times since then, yada, yada, yada. Like, it isn't when we really try to be specific about how our manifestation is going to come to us. It's when we know how we want it to feel. You know, she was in that lobby talking to these people who are like so desperately wanting this thing to happen that they're willing to force it. And she's like, I'm not willing to force it. I'm willing to meet no one and go sit in that hotel down there and drink my iced tea if it means I'm going to get to feel some peace and quiet, because that's what I need to feel. It's like, I want to feel centered. I want to feel like I'm enjoying my moment. I want to feel like I am spacious and abundant in the divinity that is me. Like, that's how I want to feel. And so she left the convention and goes down to a separate location and runs right into the opportunity that all these people are over here trying to make happen. Know how you want it to feel. That is the moral of the story. That is the best way that I can see, that I can tell you to use this portal of pure potential, is to get really clear on how it is that you want it to feel, which is again to say like your why. You know, why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you want what you want? You know, I want to have fame. I want to be well known. I want to be so well known that they're copying me, you know, like that's what I want. And why do I want that? Why do I want that? Because is that really what I need to have happen? No. Because what I really want, and why I really want it, is because I want everyone on this planet, ideally, to know in real time the paradise they are living in. That's what I want. And so, do I need to be the harbinger of the good news that this place is a paradise and like, let me help you see that? Like, not really. I mean, I like doing this and I'm going to keep doing this because it's fun for me. But as far as like what needs to happen out of it, what like, I want to be so famous that they're copying me. I want everyone to know that they're living in a paradise. The way that I more and more and more and more and more see my life as a paradise. Like I want my genuine life satisfaction to ripple in a way where it touches every person on this planet. And does that have to be me speaking to them? No, it does not. And so what is it that you really want? What do you really want? Because what you think you want, there are so many layers, including a surface layer, to what it is that you want to manifest, and using this place of pure potential to go deep into what do you truly want, because you have an unlimited check. You can write it for anything that you want. So like in this case, like I don't just want to be so famous they're copying me. I want the world to know peace. I want me to know peace so powerfully that it ripples out into every single person I ever come into contact with, whether that's one or every person on the planet. Like, that's what I want. I want my peace to be so dominant that it does not matter what is happening in the 3D. I want my connection to my own divinity to be the source of all ideas and validation and timing that I enact in my life. I want to create an internal harmony that is so potent, disharmony cannot exist in my grid. And that my grid will grow to the size of the entire world, the entire universe, all universes, the multiverse, all beings on all planets that have ever lived or will ever live will be touched by the peace that I am. This is my prayer. I seal it with a boob squeeze. That's when you make it real powerful. You guys, seriously, this is just the beginning. We are going to some really radical places. We were born to be radical receivers. Those of you watching this right now, I mean that wholeheartedly. And it truly is only a matter of what can you open up to receive? How much do you write the blank check for? What will you let your life be? You can have anything. It's all possible. Every single bit of it. Every single bit of it's possible. And I'm here to cheer you on. I'm here to be a voice in this space of pure potential where we are extensions of God. Therefore, we can create our life to be whatever it is that we want it to be. That is what we're doing here in this space. And I do hope that you've enjoyed this. Take a second, leave a little energy exchange, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, share this video with your space. Like if you think they would love it, put it out there, let them see me. Thank you so much for joining me. This is truly one of my happiest places on earth, in this paradise where we all live here together. Until next time, I do hope that you will take such good care of the radical receiver that you are, and so will I.